reports of strange creatures in the area.
Witnesses say they couldn't believe what they were seeing.
Welcome, beloved fofers, doubters, naysayers, non-believers, and skeptics. Welcome to Paranormal Fable or Fact. I am Victor Trevino, joined by my co-host and beautiful wife, Tammy.
We are your humble guides to tales of alleged hoaxes, unbelievable stories, and the overall strange.
If you want your story to be on the show, send us an email at pfableorfact@proton.me. The rules and the rules for debunkers will be in the show notes. Give us a good review, hit the notification bell, and subscribe. It's the easiest way to support us besides buying us a beer. Our appreciation, as always, goes out to our veterans, our troops, and our first responders. God be with you and yours.
Okay, before we start, I have a couple things to note. One, I want to thank all the listeners and all the watchers. Thank you. You guys have been sending us story ideas, and we really appreciate it. It gets us both looking at stuff going, whoa. But, of course, Victor knows about all of them most of the time. Me, I'm like, when did this happen? But, yeah. But thank you for sending those. The other thing is, I have a disclaimer. I was listening to some of the shorts that Victor posted, and I apologize. In some of the shows, I sound like I just woke up. So I apologize. I'm going to try not to do that. I sound like I'm just barely there. So please forgive me on that. Please send in your stories more. We really enjoy it.
Yeah, it gives us ideas. It gives us an idea of what everybody wants to listen to. Okay, this, I actually dug deep. I did a deep dive and dug up what was called the Royal Society of Antiquaries of Ireland. That was dated 1896.
Wow.
And this is the story as follows. It was apparently it was from a Miss L.A. Walkington who was visiting this place in Ireland, and it's called Glenade. I transcribed it directly from the 1896 document. A young married woman went to wash her clothes in a stream near the house, and an animal called by the natives a durughu, that is spelled, and she has it in parentheses, that is spelled as pronounced, but I have never seen the word written. It came out of the river and attacked her. Her husband, in parentheses, or brother according to some accounts, missing her, went to look for her and found her dead and the beast sucking her blood.
Ooh.
The durughu attacked the horse, for the husband seems to have been on horseback. The horse, being frightened, ran away, but became exhausted at a village called from this circumstance Garanard, Garan for bad horse, and Ard, a high place. The durughu is said to have gone, quote-unquote, through the horse to have killed it. It was then speared by the husband, who at the same time killed its young one. The durughu is said by some to have been an animal half wolf dog, half fish, and by others an enormous sea otter. The enclosed sketch of the tombstone was made on the spot by Miss Jefferson. This is what I'm talking about. She was with a friend. Unfortunately, she had not time quite to finish it. Yes, that's how she wrote that. Had not time quite to finish it.
Wow.
There was a Maltese cross below the letters. She's still talking about the gravestone. Two other tombstones are shown in connection, with an X, connection with the story, one bearing the image of the horse and said to be that of the husband. So the horse and the husband, according to her retelling of this story, are buried right next to each other. But there's something that contradicts that, but we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
And then she says, perhaps some antiquary may be able to throw light on the legend and on the nature of the durughu. And then it says Miss L.A. Walkington. And that's the original account, because if you look up the creature, it's spelled Dobhar Chu is what it looks like. But in Irish, it's pronounced Durahu. And she spelled it Durug Hu. But if you look up the story, it's similar to that, but there's some differences in it. Let's go into the gist.
Okay, let's go into the gist.
Shall we?
Yes, we shall.
This show is called Water Hound. The name, Durahu, roughly translated means water hound or hound of deep. Thought to be a cross between a giant otter and a hound, the Durahu is about 7 feet long or the size of a crocodile. In fact, it is also known as the Irish crocodile. The Durahu is a bloodthirsty, gruesome creature that lives deep in the waters of a lake, rivers, or even the sea, and is known to be able to travel great distances in the water or on land. It lets out a shrill screech when threatened or angry. They are known to also communicate with each other through whistles. This monster is known for its speed, aggression, and appetite for human flesh. It haunts the far shores and abandoned islands of the western part of Ireland. When it is under attack or about to die, it whistles eerily to warn its mate. Now, that's the description of the Durahu. I want to go back to the intro by Miss L.A. Walkington because there's several things that I noticed about this creature, because they're saying it's just a big otter, is, some of the explanations for it.
Yeah.
In order to kill a horse, that is a heck of an otter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, especially since it said it went through the horse.
Went through the horse.
Because an otter would have to jump. I mean, a horse is, yeah.
And here's the other thing. When it first tried to get the horse got frightened and ran.
So it had to chase it.
And it chased the horse. And the horse became exhausted from running. So this thing chased them for miles.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah.
And the thing is it had a young one with it, which a lot of the stories don't talk about. The stories that you'll read about, there's one that's sleeping on the dead woman's body after it killed her, and he sneaks up on it, the husband, with a dagger and kills it. But as it's dying, it lets out this little, weird whistling noise, and its mate comes out of the water and chases the man down.
Oh.
And then that's when he jumps on a horse and it chases him through town. And then somebody says, "Oh, use this sword. Wait till it use the horse as bait." Basically, it kills the horse and he kills it with the sword, and that's where you get the two of them getting killed.
Oh, okay.
But this version, it had a young one with it, a smaller one apparently.
Yeah.
And he killed them both, the husband, with a spear. Also, like you said, going through the horse.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't either, because a horse is very large.
A normal-sized otter, I think they're about 3 feet long. There are otters in this area, all along the coastlines and stuff. Uh-huh. People that see these things say it's bigger and darker than normal otters. And if you're talking about 7-8 feet long, that's a lot bigger.
Yeah.
And then if it's chasing the horse, it says in the description of it that it's known for being able to move through water and land extremely fast. Well, it would have to be to keep up with a horse.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, it would.
Even if it has a rider on it,
Yeah.
what do you know that can do that?
I don't.
So.
Not otter-wise.
Not an otter. Yeah. I don't
think otters are that fast.
I don't even think a dog could keep up with a horse running full speed.
I think a dog could.
You think so?
Yeah, I think a dog could.
Maybe if it's like a racing dog, But anyway, let's move on to the there's no disclaimer.
Okay.
Let's move on to the red flags /findings/sightings. That's what this section's called now.
Okay.
I decided to change it, not just red flags.
Okay.
Because sometimes they're not.
Yeah, they're not.
Sometimes they're just things that I looked up that I found interesting and I just talk about them. So anyway, moving on.
In Peter Costello's book, In Search of Lake Monsters, 1974, the excerpt reads as follows. On the summer solstice of the year of 1510, some kind of beast the size of a mastiff emerged at dawn from one of those lochs named Gairloch, having feet like a goose that without any difficulty knocked down great oak trees with the lashings of its tail. It quickly ran up to the huntsmen and laid low 3 of them with 3 blows, the remainder making their escape among the trees. Then without any hesitation, it immediately returned to the loch. Men think that when this monster appears, It portends great evil for the realm, for otherwise it is rarely seen.
It dates all the way back to 1510. They were talking about this thing. And the attack of the intro that I wrote, that the lady walked around and like interviewed people talking about it, Miss L.A. Walkington.
Yeah.
That attack is from 1722, and we're going to talk about that next. But this dates all the way back to 1510. They're talking about this creature,
200 years.
the size of a mastiff, which is pretty big, and the feet like a goose, which is very interesting. Now, I think when it says the size of a mastiff, it's just talking about its body. So the tail, if you look at an otter, the tail is probably over half the length of its body.
Yeah.
Otters have very long tails. And they're talking about it's without any difficulty knocking down great oak trees just with its tail.
Well, mastiffs are very, very big dogs.
Very big dogs. But I don't know if that's big enough to be knocking over trees.
Yeah.
So that might be a slight exaggeration. I don't know.
I have a question. Are geese fast?
No.
Okay.
If they fly, they are.
Okay.
But
because it said it had feet like a goose, so I was just wondering.
Because it comes from the water, I think.
No, I know, but is it fast? Does that make it faster?
I don't know.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Okay.
But I think it's interesting that it was knocking trees over. They might have been talking about smaller trees, like it's coming through the brush. It was making a big, a bunch of noise coming at them because it was so big.
Yeah.
So they might have said that it was knocking over trees or whatever, but it quickly laid low 3 of them with 3 blows. It knocked or killed 3 men like nothing. The rest of them scrambled into the trees, and it immediately returned to the lake or the loch.
That's interesting.
And I thought it was very interesting that they said they believe that it portends great evil for the realm because otherwise it's rarely seen. So even back then, they're talking about the rarity of this thing.
Mm-hmm. And evil.
And the evilness of it, yes. So in Glenade, County Leitrim, 1722, the bestial murder of Grace Connolly is still the most famous sighting, with the headstone at Conwell Cemetery said to mark a victim's grave. Oral tradition in this part of Ireland still holds that the story of the Durhu of Glenade is true. Moving on.
At around 10 p.m. on the evening of May 1st, 1968, 2 local men, John Cooney and Michael McNulty, were driving past Serene's Loch on Achill Island in the county of Mayo on their way home when suddenly an extraordinary creature, shiny, dark brown or black in color, and clearly illuminated by their vehicle's headlamps, raced across the road just in front of them and vanished into some dense foliage nearby. They estimated its height to be around 2.5 feet and its total length at 8 to 10 feet, which included a lengthy neck and a long, sturdy tail. It also had a head that they variously likened to a sheep's or a greyhound's, and 4 well-developed legs, upon which it rocked from side to side as it ran. Needless to say, its fully formed legs and long tail readily eliminated any possibility that it was a seal that had come ashore onto Achill from the coast.
Because that's, what the skeptics said. You're probably just seeing seals. Well, seals do the inchworm thing.
Yeah.
They kind of...
Yeah, that's why I thought it was interesting that if they think it's a seal or otter, that it could jump high enough to go through a horse.
Or keep up with a horse.
Because they do that little centipede. Yeah,
right,
like you said.
Right.
That little...
Seals don't move across that. And they said, well, maybe it's a sea lion. Well, number one, I don't think sea lions are in that area. It's too cold. But even if it was a sea lions can't even keep up with a person. There's no way it's going to keep up with a horse.
Yeah, they're fast in the ocean, but they're not fast on land.
Especially for miles. Chasing a horse for miles, that's not a sea lion. And they talk about it having a long neck and a long tail, just kind of like a sea otter. It's built like a sea otter, basically. It stood about 2.5 feet at the shoulder, and it was 8 to 10 feet long. That is massive.
With a sheep or greyhound's head.
Right. So this is in 1968. So you have 1510, 1722, 1968. Right.
That's not that long ago.
And then just a week later, from that sighting of those 2 guys, a similar beast crawled out of the lake, and this is that Srareen Loch, and climbed the bank as 15-year-old Gay Deaver was cycling past, shocking him so much that he dismounted to watch it go by. It seemed to him to be bigger than a horse, black in color, with a sheep-like head, long neck, and tail, 4 legs, of which the hind ones were larger. Other sightings were also reported during this period, but the identity of the animal or animals was never ascertained. So people saw it. It was like a little flap there that people were seeing this thing.
Wow.
I also thought it was interesting that the other 2 men described it as moving back and forth as it ran quickly across the road, so it was like waddling. Like a skunk or something.
Yeah.
Something low.
Maybe that's where they get the otter or sea lion, because it's waddling.
I don't know, but they say it moves through the water just as fast as it moves on land. And because it's rarely seen, it has to be from under the water. It has to be.
Sometime in 1999-2000, near Portumna, Patrick Sullivan from Cleggan was driving along the N65 towards Loughrea when he suddenly saw an unfamiliar-looking animal wandering on the opposite side of the road. Curious to see more of this creature, he was able to turn around and drive back, and later reported that it resembled an otter, but was much larger and darker. As he watched, it moved off the road and disappeared into some undergrowth.
This is right around 99-2000 near Portumna, and I didn't even look that up.
So he's just crossing the road, trying to get across the road.
And this is on land. Now, there are a bunch of small lakes up there, but they're pretty small.
Yeah.
Just a couple thousand feet across, some of them.
Yeah.
And I don't know how deep.
Yeah. They could go from lake to lake to eat and stuff,
Right. If it can cross miles of land, if it can chase a horse for miles, this thing could easily come on land and just run around.
Yeah.
So this guy's driving along, sees this thing on the opposite side of the road, actually stops, turns around to get a better look at it, and watches it disappear into some undergrowth.
Okay, so we're going from 1500 to almost 20 years ago.
Yes.
This is how we've seen these. Or,
yes.
People have seen these out and about.
Now, this is the big one besides Grace O'Connelly getting killed. Between April and May of 2003 on Omi Island in Connemara, County Galway, there was a sighting reported by Sean Corcoran and his wife. Omi Island contains 2 freshwater lakes and is accessible on foot when the tide is out. Sean and his wife were camping on Omni near to Fahy Loch, the larger of the 2 lakes, when around 3 a.m. one morning they were alerted to a strange yelping cry coming from the sand dunes at the lake's western side. Armed with a flashlight, or torch, as they call it, and we looked that up. Remember I told you it was Eveready that called it an electric torch, and that's why they all call it a torch to this day, and we said flashlight. But apparently in the UK and Australia, they still call it a torch because to them, flashlights are something that flashes. Mm. But in the military, the reason we called it a flashlight is because they would signal with them. Yeah. So, Morse code and stuff like that. So we called it a flashlight. But anyway, I just thought that was interesting. So armed with a torch, they set off to investigate and encountered just 2 to 3 yards away. And I thought that was interesting that they said yards instead of meters. But an animal described by Sean as being larger than his pet Labrador dog. Now, the reason it was important is because I saw other references to this sighting, and he turned and it was basically in his face for like a split second. He saw it and kind of like jumped back like, whoa, and all he saw was mouth, teeth, and it was like 5 or 6 feet off the ground looking at it, basically.
That just gave me the chills.
And then as he jumped back, it quickly turned and ran. The creature speedily swam across the lake to the furthest side, so it basically turned away from him, dove into the water, and just went whoosh, like quick as a wink.
Wow.
Crossed the lake to the furthest side where it re-emerged, clambered onto a large rock, reared up on its hind legs. In this pose, it was estimated by Sean to be around 5 feet tall and was observed to be dark in overall color, but sporting orange-red flipper-like feet. Like a duck or a goose, yes. It then turned away and disappeared into the darkness after letting out a, quote, most haunting screech, unquote.
And all the stories say about the screech.
Yeah, that's the description.
Yeah.
And we're going to, as we do the show, we're going to show, he did several sketches of what he saw, including the one with its mouth open, and that's like basically right in his face, and it scared the crap out of him. But remember, it was making these weird, like, yelping cries, and that's what drew him and his wife over there. It's a very odd creature.
Yeah.
So those are the sightings.
Okay.
And it's claimed, from what I could read in the Google search, in the AI overview, that the locals still see it to this day. It's one of the inarguable truths, so I don't want to go into it too much. But basically, it's estimated that they don't come forward because to them, it's just a regular creature. So why are they going to go out on the news and, oh, I saw it again? But why would they do that?
Oh, that makes sense.
Right? If you see a bear crossing the road, you're not going to run to, to the newspaper and say, oh, I saw a bear.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you're not going to call 911. It's in its habitat.
Yeah, it's in its habitat, right. And it's a normal creature for this area.
Yeah.
So nothing exciting. And that is absolutely fascinating when they have that attitude of, I just saw it again. Nope, no big deal. Think about that.
Yeah.
So now we come to our favorite part of the show, the inarguable truths. Number 1, there is plenty of water for the Durahu to inhabit.
Number 2, the folklore of the Durahu goes back hundreds of years.
Number 3, the area where this cryptid is mostly sighted is desolate.
Number 4, there is minimal physical evidence of an attack by the Durahu.
Number 5, one of these creatures was reportedly killed and buried.
Number 6, locals still see and believe that the Durahu exist even today.
So let's go back up to inarguable truth number 1, which is there is plenty of water for the Durahu to inhabit. The skeptics, and also even cryptozoologists, some of them, have pointed out that the circumference of the 1,200-foot lock from the Sarahin's lock where they saw this thing is too small to support water monsters of this nature.
But we already talked about this because it can move across land very fast.
Right.
So that doesn't mean it stays in that lock.
And what kind of an argument is that? Oh, so I see, well, it's just like we were talking about before. We see a bear on the road. Well, a road isn't going to support the habitat of a bear. That's silly. You couldn't have seen a bear. What?
Yeah.
Like bears can't travel? Like this thing can't travel?
Yeah.
This is the map. That's a kill island, and it was sighted right in here.
Look at all the water around the island.
All the water around it.
Yeah.
It's completely surrounded by ocean.
Yeah, that doesn't make, no.
So, because that lake's too small, you couldn't have seen. Like, here's a cookie. Go over. Get out of here. What's wrong with you? But that's basically the map.
But I see what you're trying to say.
But that's the inarguable truth. There's plenty of water in the area for this thing to survive, for this thing to have a habitat. And if it comes out of the ocean, which is where I think it lives, it could be anywhere in that area of Ireland because it travels quickly over ground.
Yep.
So anything capable of running across roads on 4 sturdy limbs is equally capable of moving from one lake to another, not residing permanently in any one body of water, which could explain why sightings of monsters in Sarahin's loch are sporadic rather than regular. That's it. That's it. Hands down. Argument over. I mean,
we already discussed that because we were talking about it because I didn't know this was an inarguable truth, but that's how I feel about it already.
There's just water everywhere, and there's rivers.
There's water everywhere.
So let's move on to inarguable truth number 2. The folklore of the Durahu goes back hundreds of years. We already kind of covered this one too with all the sightings. But Martin, that's his name, writing his most famous book, A Description of the Western Isles of Scotland in 1703, on the Inner Hebrides island of Skye, where Martin was born, is quoted as saying, "The hunters say there is a big otter above ordinary size with a white spot on its breast, and they call this the king of otters. It is rarely seen and is very hard to kill." And this is his description, this is his book that he wrote back in 1703. So it wasn't just locals seeing this thing. This guy's from Scotland.
Yeah.
And, he's talking about hunters that came from that area talking about this thing. We saw the accounts from 1500, heard about the death in 1722. This thing has been being seen for a very, very long time.
Over 1,000 years.
Basically, yeah. Almost 1,000 years, yeah. Well, like 600 years. So let's move on. But that's basically, we already kind of covered that.
Yeah,
but it's something to hold, because I think it's of great importance. They've been seeing it for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Yeah.
So I don't care what recent scientists say. Well, we looked all over. We don't see any evidence of it. I don't care. The locals there, it's real to them, and that's why they don't talk about it. Moving on to inarguable truth number 3. The area where this cryptid is mostly sighted is desolate. Remember I was making that point where it's running across, they're seeing it running down the road and running across roads, and they're seeing it diving into the little lakes and moving around the dunes and everything else.
Yeah.
The area is desolate. So this thing could be running back and forth every day and people wouldn't see it. For example, the closest significant town to Serene's Lock, which is where that 1968 sighting occurred, is the town of Kiel, or the city of Kiel, which only has a population of about 550 people.
No, that's very small.
So it's just a little village.
Yeah, it's just a village, yeah.
Omi Island has no permanent residents. And remember, once the tide comes in, you can't get to that island.
Oh, okay.
The last year-round resident passed away in 2017, so it's basically abandoned now.
Oh.
Which is pretty desolate if there's nobody out there.
Yeah, that's very desolate.
Year-round. The nearest city to that island is Clifton, which is 14 kilometers or 9 miles away with a population of only 1,200.
Very small again.
Very small places, and this is miles and miles, 14 miles from this place, and that's the largest town, Glenade. Now remember, Glenade is where that original story, the intro, happened, where the lady was killed.
Right.
Today, it has a population of 175 people.
Oh, wow.
It's a tiny little, it's like a gas station and a couple of houses. You know what I'm saying?
They're all kin.
If it even has a gas station, I don't know. It might be horses out there. Who knows?
Yeah.
The nearest city to that is Manor Hamilton, which is 11 miles away, and Manor Hamilton has a population of only about 1,700 people. So this area is vast, it's open, and it's very unpopulated.
Yeah.
This idea that something that large could be running around out there and people not see it all the time because there's not very many people in the area isn't so far-fetched.
No, it's not.
In my humble opinion. So that pretty much does it for that inarguable truth. Let's move on to number 4. There is minimal physical evidence of an attack by the Durahu, the carving on Grace's tombstone. It is depicted, the creature is depicted as lying down with its head and neck flung backwards so that it lies flat along its back in its death throes. A spear-like weapon is shown piercing the base of the creature's neck, remember the spear from the original story, emerging from below its body, so he skewered it, gripped by a human fist at the upper end. And I'll show a picture of it. It's really hard to see. I was trying to find maybe like a rubbing of it so that more details, but I haven't been able to find anything so far. Now, fully admit it's not significant evidence at all, but why take the time to painstakingly carve something on someone's gravestone that wasn't true?
I think it is significant evidence, and I'll tell you why. Because of all the genealogy I do, and when I look at gravestones and everything, there's a lot of symbols that are on gravestones from different generations, from different years. So it is very significant because that's how they used to do. They still do it. They still do it to this day. There's symbols that they put on gravestones that either talk about the person's life, or talk about the person's occupation, or talk about the person's faith. And it's been going on for generations and generations.
Totally agree with you. Who's going to desecrate a headstone? You know what I mean? By carving something into it that's not true.
They wouldn't do.
They wouldn't do that.
No, not like that.
And the family wouldn't allow it. They would have rubbed it off or scraped it off or whatever if it wasn't true. So why is it still there?
Gotcha.
After 500, 400 and something years or whatever. So it is significant that someone took the time to carve it into the tombstone. So let's move on.
Okay.
Inarguable truth number 5. One of these creatures was reportedly killed and buried. I think that is extremely significant because how many cryptids can we name right now where that has been reported to not only attacking someone and killing someone, but it being killed and its young one being killed in the process? Not very many off the top of your head, right? And I know a lot of cryptids off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But I've never heard a story like this where there is a death attributed to it and there's an actual grave attributed to an attack by a cryptid, except for this one. I think that's extremely important. The creature, after being slain by Terence, who was Grace's husband, was reportedly buried near Cashelgaran, stone fort not far from Glenade, along with the horse that was killed by the creature. So when Miss L.A. Walkington was talking about how she saw a grave there with a horse on it, it probably wasn't the horse. Or they moved the horse's grave, I don't know.
Yeah.
And buried it next to the husband or whatever and her. Either way, they're talking about burying this thing in the area.
Yeah.
So to me, this is significant because it indicates a physical creature or a cryptid. It's not some figment of imagination or hallucination. You're not going to misidentify a creature that can kill a horse, for example. There's nothing in Ireland that can kill a horse, as far as I know. I don't think they have large predators. But I think it's significant because, again, it indicates a physical creature. If somebody speared it and killed it,
Yeah.
what are we talking about? So we're at the finish line. Inarguable truth number 6, and this is the mic drop. Locals still see and believe that the Dobhar exists even today. And we talked about this before. They won't go on record, but researchers and skeptics traveling through Western Ireland's smaller towns all reported locals claiming that they still see it, even today, but they don't come forward with it because it's a normal creature.
Yeah.
Why are you going to go and report to a news station, hey, I just saw, a beaver,
Yeah.
when there's beavers all over?
That's what I'm saying. It's their habitat. It's their area. So it would be like us saying, we saw a bunny.
Yeah.
It's like going to Australia and you see a kangaroo.
So this was, and anybody can do this again, this is just a Google search, and in the AI overview of a Google search, it said, while the Dobhar or Water Hound is firmly rooted in Irish folklore as a mythical creature, belief in it persists to this day in parts of Ireland, often blending oral tradition with modern anecdotal sightings. It is considered a living cryptid by some, similar to the Loch Ness Monster, rather than purely historical legend. So even Google says the locals still believe in it. It's not something that's just, we just talk about it to entertain ourselves. It's something they actually see and they actually believe in it.
Yeah.
Now the question is, in conclusion, baby, what do you think about the Dobhar?
It's a very interesting creature. It probably does exist, and it probably jumps from lake to lake, and it's probably some kind of sea dragon because it has some kind of sheep's head or hound's head.
A sea dragon?
Yeah. No, but I really think it's interesting because if it's as fast as a horse, it could go anywhere. Mm-hmm. So it makes you think, and then you put Loch Ness Monster on that. So it makes you think, can these creatures go from land to water that fast and just disappear?
I don't see why not. That's what they say it does.
And are they coming from our realm or are they coming from a different realm?
I don't know. I don't know. So
Very fascinating.
So you think? Are you saying that you think maybe it's a dimensional creature?
I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. It's just very fascinating. And it's very fascinating that people see it to this day.
Exactly.
That's
That is
fascinating.
just so mind blowing that they're like, yeah, saw it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was one down the road just a little while ago.
I think it's cool though because like it probably does exist because there's creatures all around the world that you and I have never seen and probably never will in our lifetime because we've never been in those areas. You know what I
Right.
mean? So
Right.
who's to say? I mean, we're not in Scotland.
And if we go out there visiting, let's say we won the lottery, right? And we decide, hey, we're going to go out there and camp out for 2 weeks in this area looking for it. Well, we can search high and low. Just because we don't see it doesn't mean it's not there.
Yeah.
Because there's probably local people that are there every day that have gone years without seeing
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
It goes back to what that guy said when we did the Freeman footage, where he said, I've been a ranger for almost 20 years. I've never seen a mountain lion, but I know they exist.
Yeah.
So he goes out in the woods every day. He's never seen a mountain lion, but he knows they're out there.
Yeah.
Perfect example.
Yeah. It is. It is.
And mountain lions are known creatures, and here you have a forest ranger saying, I've never seen one. So my conclusion is I believe it's an unknown species.
yeah.
Period. I think that there's something around out there that science hasn't caught or found. It might be too big, too strong, too fierce to capture, if they set traps or whatever, or, and they're like, well, we didn't catch anything, so it must not exist. But remember, wolverines are notoriously difficult to trap,
Yeah.
and they're a known species. They'll chew their own foot off to get out of the trap.
Yeah. So who's to say this isn't that type of creature? Just
Who knows?
eludes the human.
If it can kill a horse,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
it might be some type of massive species of otter that lives deep underwater. But remember, it was described as being half wolfhound, half fish. So maybe it has gills. Maybe it's some type of salamander.
Some kind of water dragon.
Yeah, maybe, like, I know that there's salamanders and there's some newts and there's some, what do they call them, mud puppies?
Oh, yeah.
That can breathe underwater.
Yeah.
They can stay underwater.
Yeah.
So if it's something like that with fur,
Mud puppy.
yeah, and it has some kind of fur on it, and it's in that shape with strong limbs, webbed feet.
A giant mud puppy.
Who knows?
Wow.
That thing would waddle. It would have a long, powerful tail. And if it has fur, because it's an unknown species, we've never seen amphibians with fur, but it might not be an amphibian. Who knows? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Who knows?
It explains how it's quick across the land. It's not. Yeah. It can't be cold-blooded like a reptile. It can't be because it lives in the ocean.
Oh, yeah.
And it has to be able to breathe underwater because you don't see it above land very often.
That's interesting.
So it could just vanish into the ocean.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my conclusion. And that about does it, baby.
All right. Thank you for listening, everybody. And keep sending those stories in and those ideas for us. Thank you. Have a great night. Good night.
Good night, everybody.